Hello! 4 days, four videos in English. I'm on the roll, although the first two were kind of private videos, but anyway. I think this is kind of a time when, well, I think this applies to most people. Most people have these times when they are hermits somewhere or another, and then there are moments when they are, or times when they are social animals. And that's kind of a way for me at the moment. Right now this is kind of a social stage, or however you want to put it. And that same thing applies also what comes to communities. I mean, there are times when people who are associated with that community are just doing their own thing without that much connection to other members of the community. But then there are those times when that community is kind of forced to come out as one, or it needs to come out as one. And that's a lot of times when things are going downhill or start going downhill. Because community who don't have this kind of a original sense of community is nothing but a bunch of people who are doing the same thing without certain connections to one another. And well, that's again one of those things that I've been thinking about a lot lately. And I think that's because some people don't want certain kind of attention. I mean, they want to take that good stuff. But what comes to any community, there are always those times when something's wrong. Those things should be handled. But again, lately I've seen way too many cases when that's not the case because of the subject matter or relations with people, that it doesn't happen. It's easy to say that it's a community when people are in the headline or in the limelight. But then when it's time to get your hands dirty, oh no, not me. Yeah, now I'm mumbling, drowning again. I'm a grumpy old man. Well, 35, but anyway. But still, grumpy middle-aged, early middle-aged man. However you want to put it. And I'm making a video in English once again. Or what, fourth day in a row, because I really want to hone my English, and that's the thing. You can't get better with something if you don't do it. And that's also the thing that some people kind of miss what comes to, well, for example, YouTube. And kind of my prime example is YouTube. And this is also one of the things I've been thinking about quite a lot lately. That is your content original? There are a lot of people without the S, a lot of people who are just jumping into the bandwagon, into this kind of YouTube cart, YouTube wagon, and they're doing it, well, kind of a wrong way. It's at the same time it's a good way to start, but at the same time it's wrong way, in my opinion. They are watching a video made by their favorite, well, let's say big YouTuber. Let's take some bigger channel for this example. And they're watching it and going, okay, this person has so and so many subs, and this person is getting exposure what comes to social media. So okay, I'll start making videos exactly like this person. It's kind of a good way to start. Starting making kind of, well, not copycat videos, but something along the lines that someone else is doing, and then kind of honing your own style or growing your own style from that. But that's also a bit way to start, because those people who have a lot of exposure, that's mostly because they are talking about things that they are passionate about, something that they know very well, and something that they are really into. If I would start making videos about politics, Well, I could pull it off for a few videos, but it wouldn't be too long after people would start see through it or seeing through it. But okay, he's just making videos, but there's really nothing to say in those videos, if you catch my drift. That's the way many people start making videos. They just take the style of their own kind of favorite YouTuber and they start emulating that thing. They start making similar content because okay, he's successful or she's successful with this and this kind of stuff, so okay, I'll start making exactly the same or very similar type of videos. That's not good for diversity, really, and that's not good for, how should I put it, community's inner intelligence, maybe, is the right way to put it. So there's really not much to see after that. If this person is making the same kind of videos than this, and this, and this, and this, and this, okay, if you have found your own niche, your own way to do it, that will separate your things from some other people's material, even if you're basically talking about the same things. But if you have your own style and your own kind of signature way to do things, you will stand out from the crowd. But the problem is that there are way too many people who are not honing their style, they're just emulating other people's videos. And that's kind of sad, because if it happens in a bigger scale, there's really not too much to watch anymore. I mean, if you want to see, let's say, opinion videos, you find this channel, okay, he's talking about this, or he or she is talking about this and this, and then you're watching the video and thinking, okay, I've seen this before. It was on a different channel, it was a different person, but still I've seen this before. And there's nothing there but this kind of a hand-warm mirror of someone else's work, someone else's content. I've been trying to find kind of interesting channels that are basically the same than other channels, but there's something that separates that person from the crowd. And that's getting harder and harder nowadays. Or actually it's getting easier and harder at the same time. It's getting easier because yes, there are more people doing videos, but it's getting harder because it comes from the same mold way too often. It's same stuff, just a different person's talking. Strong personalities. That's something that I would like to see what comes to creative content, what comes to videos, what comes to music, what comes to literature, hard word. That's the problem kind of nowadays with a culture. And now I'm talking about culture in a global sense. Culture, entertainment, however you want to take it. That it's getting, the mold is getting smaller and smaller, or it's getting similar and similar. If you think about record companies and these pop stars, only thing that you can basically tell the difference between this artist and this artist is their stylist. Basically the way those people are styled, if that's the right word to put it. And of course different voice, but hey, there's always auto-tune and Melodyne. So nowadays, well, earlier decades, people knew what they were doing and they were good at it. But nowadays you can basically take almost anyone and make him or her sound decent with these gadgets and producer teams and all those people. It's easy to make it. And then things are starting to go wrong, in my opinion, because if this sells, let's do it. It sells, let's do it. Which means that over time diversity disappears, or it may not disappear, but it will shrink a lot. I can remember back in the day when boy bands were the thing. I mean, New Kids on the Block, East 17 and those kind of bands or groups, and there were a lot of them. I mean, basically every, and after that of course Spice Girls, no, girl groups, and every record company had to come up with their own group along that style. And it was and death metal, no, late 80s, early 90s. It was kind of, well, it's easy to see why kind of death metal kind of failed. If there's a bigger band playing a gig, they have, or they had at the time, I don't know, I'm not from America so I don't know, but at the time they had something like 3 or 4 support bands before they hit the stage. And all bands played death metal. So before the main act gets on stage, before that 3 other bands that all went with double bass drums and detuned guitars. There's a limit how much you can take what comes to certain things, and we've seen that a lot during the last, I don't know, 30 years maybe. But there's something that kind of explodes. A lot of people are starting doing the same thing. A lot of people start doing the same thing, and then it kind of collapses. Yay! Batteries and Nordic climate. It's actually, now when thinking about it, kind of controversial thing to say that death metal failed. Well, in certain way it did what comes to mainstream music world. But on the other hand, there will always be this group of people who are saying that there are things that should stay in the underground in order to keep them pure. If you are an artist, a content creator or something like that, and your success reaches a certain limit, that's actually a decision you really have to make. Do I want to make a deal with these and these people? I would make more money, my work would get more exposure, I would get more kind of known, but do I want to give up my kind of artistical integrity and let PR guys and etc. to have some power over what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm not allowed to do? Or do I want to stay as an independent artist, content creator, whatever, earn less, have kind of been less well known, having smaller audience, but that way I could keep all the strings in my own hands. You know, if I don't want to do something, I don't have to do something. If I want to do something, hell yeah. But of course there's always a middle ground. But that middle ground can be very hard to achieve. It can be. There are some bands who have earned this kind of middle ground place where they have this kind of a big financial support, but on the other hand they have complete artistical freedom. And that's one thing I like about independent record labels, independent film studios. Those kind of companies and those kind of people can release, or they will release, something that's not financially smart thing to do, to put some things out, but if it serves their artistical purposes, they will. And the reason is that the owners of those kind of companies are passionate about what they're doing. They're not staring at the numbers, so we can't do this because it costs too much. Or most likely those people are going, okay, we're not getting completely bankrupt. Leroy! So let's do it. Well, since we're living in this kind of a cash is our god world, those kind of opportunities seems to be more scarce, if that's the right way to put it. It's getting harder and harder to get that kind of a middle ground. If you're not already established yourself as an artist or as a content creator, as whatever, if you don't have that kind of a established position, it's very hard to do certain things. For example, what comes to films and music. I don't know the right word for it, but in Finland we have this thing called vastarannan kiiski, which basically means someone on the other side of the river. It's just a phrase. If you are one of those people, if you are a vastarannan kiiski, you're someone who's not going with the flow. You're pushing, you know, upstream when everybody else are going downstream, because usually it's a whole lot more easier. It's a whole lot more easier right there and then, but you will suffer. You may suffer later. But anyway, this vlog is already getting relatively long again, but hey, I like long vlogs. So let's end this one here. So until next time, see ya.